Hello, good day, everyone. Welcome to this channel today. Today, I'm privileged to have a special guest on the show, and she is my queen, my beautiful queen. I'm so lucky to have married her, and today we're just going to have a conversation about family, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to having a good conversation. So I'll let her introduce herself, then we go on. Yes.
Thank you, Siddharth. Um, my name is Rhoda Lucite, and I'm so glad to be here. And this is my husband. Feels awkward to introduce myself before my husband, but yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much for accepting to come on the show this evening. And I was just because I've been having a conversation about family matters generally, and I thought maybe we can hold this conversation together and just talk to our viewers and our fans out there and see how we have navigated or how we can navigate raising up children and some of the fundamental issues that we find hard to teach them or to talk about around them. So because it's universal out there that people tend to look away from certain topics, especially when dealing with children and teenage children, for that matter. So I just want us to jump in and maybe I'll just check what areas. Because I know where we go through this together. But what areas do you find personally it's been a challenge for you maybe to bring up to the children?
So area you mean as in stage where they are or specific
I mean specific topics.
topics?
Yes.
Okay, that's a very good question. And so actually, I'm just thinking. Yeah, so when they were little,
Yeah.
I couldn't pinpoint the toughest or specific areas that we struggled. I think when children are young, it's just the normal routine of making sure they are fed, they are clothed, and they are going to school and they are healthy. But now as they grow to be their own, like have an independent kind of thought process and mind, and they're growing as they're teenagers, so to young adulthood, I've found that season quite challenging. And the areas that I found quite challenging, one is that they have availability of technology like 24/7, either it's on their phones or the Wi-Fi in the house, the computers at school, they have access, and the TV is on. So that world of technology and social media is quite open to them. And so that's a conversation that we have to have actually on a daily basis. Like you set rules and they'll push it. And don't get me wrong, social media and the internet and all that is good because they use it for school to learn and all that.
Yeah.
But also it has its own vices and negative side. And so we are trying to bring up children that are quite balanced. And as a parent, sometimes you ask yourself, are you doing the right thing? But yeah, so we are putting the limits, but it's like every day you have to remind them these are the rules around social media and internet use. So that has been one area that is quite challenging. And then the second area is about relationship. They feel or think that they are ready for relationships, especially with the opposite sex. But it's an area you also don't want to exclude them completely from it, but just to educate them and talk to them about what is really involved in relationships and when is the appropriate age or appropriate mindset to have before just settling into relationship, because then they are at school, they're still young. So that's another area that we are
Mm.
having challenging.
And having, it's good that you talked about the internet part, and I feel like the kids are even smarter than us. Sometimes
Even the little
even the
one.
little one, like the way we have like a 5-year-old, the way he navigates through things on the
Yeah.
computer that I even don't know about. Yeah, it's just fascinating.
Yeah, it's like they're already wired
Yeah.
to go through the whatever technology will be available, whether it's an iPad or a computer or
Yeah.
even the TV. They know up to some like settings that we don't know about. And so, yeah, they know a lot that we don't. So it's actually challenges us to be informed like all the time, to be updated what is new, what is not happening. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting how because looking at that in technology side, I remember there was a bill being introduced in the Australian Parliament that they want to compel the social media platforms not to accept young kids under around 16,
Yeah.
which I think it's commendable. But when you look at these kids, they know how even to navigate those areas, and they can even cheat the internet, the system. So it's just such a very hard place to navigate, very delicate, and looking at it, social media with all the cyberbullying and all that, we really need to regulate and just to be on top of things, especially as parents, so that they don't get themselves in those bad hands, keyboard warriors who wants to manipulate them, and just because we've had kids who have gone through very hard times because of the cyberbullying, and they've committed suicide, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So yeah, and looking at the relationship side, maybe maybe we can just say, because talking about it, it's one thing, and then following through, because now wanting, you can talk to these young ones, and you may think that they are actually taking in what you're saying, but sometimes they already are ahead of you, and they are doing things that you don't know. So when is the right time to talk about like sexuality with this young one?
Oh, I think by the time, any time is the right time. So it just needs to be age appropriate. You find like children from the age of 5 years, they're already starting to ask, like, for example, if the mom is pregnant or something, they'll start to question. They will even start to question their origin and humanity and all those. So from that age, you just have to find age appropriate language to speak to them about who they are, where they come from, how does a child come to be, and how are they born and into the world. And then with the teenagers, the time to discuss about sex and sexual relationships, I find like actually in school they started in year 5. That was around 10 years, isn't it?
Yeah, year 5.
Yeah, so they started having the conversation introduced in school, but at home we had to carry on that conversation. So it's a conversation we started long time, but with the age appropriate wording and language. And now as they grow, you see then they start to um, like, or is it liking? Yeah, they start to navigate towards the opposite sex in their relationship. Then now you would start bringing in the actual
You
like
upgrade.
real
You upgrade your
conversation.
conversations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the conversations upgrade, and
Yeah.
even now they're still ongoing, and it's conversations that are still ongoing about yeah, the sexuality part, who they are, how they can relate, what is sex, what are the effects, like what happens. So it's such a tough kind of scenario, because if I look back as growing up, these are some of the conversations we did not have.
Yeah.
with our parents. So sometimes you just don't even know how to start them, but you have to start them because we are raising a different generation that is looking for answers, that is really wants the knowledge, wants the know-how. And yeah, we have no manual. We just trust on the wisdom of God and praying every day for wisdom and on how to navigate that season. And so, as I said, even the conversation are just ongoing,
Yeah.
even now. And yeah, we sometimes we answer when they ask the questions, but it's something that we are very intentional about, just having that conversation and creating the space for the conversation to
Yeah.
occur. But as my husband said, it just talking about it is one thing, and for them to follow through is another thing that you might not know, you never know. But yeah, that's the
Yeah,
space we
and
are.
so something I have learned is just being patient with these young ones, the kids. You know, sometimes you if you go the way we were brought up, if we try to copy how we were brought up, you find that you will not have the patience,
Yeah.
and you will it's easily you to snap and just get angry and all that. But when you are patient with them and just know that they need to be, you know, when you repeat something, you they need to be repeated something and to be told like up again and again, and that's when things will maybe sink in, and maybe you have that conversion. And the first thing is to gain trust. You know, gaining trust with the children is one thing we've really tried, and it's something, of course, ongoing. You know, when our kids maybe make mistakes, we need to discipline them and tell them why we are doing it. And in that way, we build trust so that if they come across anything that is challenging in their lives, it's easy for them to come up to
Come
us
and
and tell us,
say,
look, this is what happened. How could I navigate it? And when we were having a conversation, we are happy that our son was able to
to
stand up
stand up.
for
Yeah,
himself when
yeah.
he was bullied. We tried, like, someone was trying to bully in school, and not a fellow student but an adult. So it was something that you see it's building. You know,
Yeah.
that kind of confidence is what we really need to have in our children, so that they don't just suffer in silence. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an area we really try to encourage the children to be bold, to be courageous,
Yeah.
and to also to speak up, because we are bringing them in a different culture, in a different environment from uh, where we were brought up. So there are those also challenges of culture and how we maintain our African or Kenyan culture, and how they are in a different culture as well. But also that also puts them in a tight spot that sometimes they might experience racism or
Yeah.
bullying. And so it's something that we are very vocal about in the house, and they know it. And sometimes they might say, "Oh, don't tell mom or dad that." They will, they
Yeah.
will
Go
go,
for
they
it.
will go to school or do well and
Yeah.
follow it up, because it's something that we don't really tolerate. But we
Mm.
speak about it, and so it was really encouraging to see today when we're
Yeah.
having the conversation that our son is able to stand up and actually identify that's not right, and you are not going to talk to me like that,
Yeah.
and I am not taking that. So it was good to see that he was able to stand up for himself in a good way, not in a rude way, but in a polite and
Yeah.
firm way, to be
Yeah.
able to stand up
Very, very,
for himself.
very commendable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. And so those are some of the things we navigate in the family, and just thought we can share. And it's very important to share these things, especially you viewers, if you have like experienced a different way, and you have had a different challenge. It's good to share in the comments below, so that we can pick it up and maybe have another discussion towards that, or someone else will read and see that we are not alone in this. Especially parenting is something that is collective and it's communal. So let us all take charge and spearhead this, and let us, especially when you look at children, it's a community thing.
Yeah. Well,
So
our culture
yeah,
is
it's
a
a community thing.
thing.
Yeah.
But
But right here in Australia, it's like everyone for himself, God for us all. So
individual kind
if
of mindset.
I wouldn't mind if someone will correct my son out there if he's doing something wrong. That's what I know. A child is for the community, and when a child succeeds, the community succeeds. Yeah. So I really want to thank you for allowing to partake into this discussion, and I hope we can have more of this.
Yeah, we'll
And
try.
and I can come to your channel as well, Cam's Haven.
Yeah,
And
check me out, guys, at Kem's
yeah,
Haven, where we talk about faith, family, and a little bit of everything of who
yeah.
I represent. So check me out.
And she likes gardening as well. Gardening.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're doing an amazing job. So
Thank you.
yeah, when you go to a channel, you see a lot of things, and we will have more and more of this, and just to challenge ourselves and to teach one another, because you can't do things alone. We're not an island, and no one is an island. And once we talk about it and engage, we know what we're going through and someone else is going through, and we can collaborate and build a better family and a community. Because without good families, there's no community. And without good communities, there's no country. So let us go out there and make things happen. And let's do this together. Thank you so much. If you like this, please subscribe, and we will keep doing more and more of this. So thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.